Yo, we back in it. This is things Marvel Spider-Man 3 needs to be better. I think it adds something new each year. The web wings really helped this year. Let's see what they talking about.
It's been nearly 2 years since Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man 2 came out, and whilst it still stands out as a pretty solid game, there's still a few things that feel missing. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this game. Gameplay-wise, it's truly amazing. Spectacular even. Just astonishing. Absolutely.
Damn,
Sensation! Okay, I'll stop. And since we're probably a few couple years away from the third game, I thought it'd be a great idea to make a video discussing my issues with the second game and how they could improve it in the next one. I felt like this was a good time to make a video on this. That way I can look back on this when the game does come out. And I'll either be really happy or really sad. Oh well. Anyways, enough horsing around and let's get started. Now the first thing I want to talk about is regarding the suits in this game. I love a lot of the suits in the other games, especially when they give simplistic suits more of a subtle detail. But I think the best way to improve on the suit selection is simple. I want to build my own costume. I like the idea of Insomniac introducing color sets into the second game, but the problem is that even though they made some really great recolors for certain suits, half the time they just didn't even bother trying. You can't do anything about it either. That's why I think a better way to expand upon the overall customization in the game would be a full suit customization tool. You could pick your own logo, eyes, web pattern, web wings, web shooters, and even change the colors of those accessories. Hell, I'd love it if I could change the color of my web fluid. It would give the player more freedom and add a more immersive experience by designing a suit of their choice. I'd love to be able to go old school and play in a Steve Ditko inspired suit with big, fat, silver web shooters. Fucking love silver web shooters, man. I don't think they get enough love. Since we're still on the topic of suits, I think it'd also be great if they brought back more of the comic suits from the first game. I'll admit, I was really bummed when suits like the Kane suit, or the Big Time suit, or the Mark IV suit didn't return, since they were my favourite suits to wear in the first game. It also doesn't make much sense when in the second game we got the first and third Scarlet Spider suit but not the second one. That's like the best one and you're just gonna, what, skip it? What's the point in that? I understand that when it came to Insomniac importing the suits to this game that it wasn't gonna be easy and it was more of a pick and choose situation. But if that was the case, you couldn't even at least complete the trilogy? This whole selection just feels kind of odd because of that. It's like they were more focused on balancing the amount of suits both Peter and Miles had rather than actually work on suits that people have wanted for so long. I don't hate the original suits that they designed. A lot of them are actually pretty cool, and I would occasionally wear a few from time to time.
Yeah, they're gonna have
but
to make
some of them are so plain bad that it felt like a genuine waste to even put them in. I can't imagine myself wearing these! And I hate to say that because people did put effort designing these suits. I know that there are people at the time that were being full-on hateful towards the artists of the suits. Don't be an asshole and shit on the talented people for just making them.
Why do it look like a
I don't have anything against the artists behind these, and neither should you. If someone cooked me a meal and it turned out to be bad, I'm not going to scream at them and say they should never cook again. I'm going to give feedback on how they could improve. They're just not that appealing for me to wear them, and I wouldn't be too surprised if they decide to not put them in the next game. Besides, that would leave room for way more appealing suits like the Cosmic suit, or the Sensational suit, or the Miles Prowler suit. Now that the suits are done, let's move on to the combat system. I loved how much more complex the combat was in the second game. Adding a parry mechanic and a dodge-only maneuver was a great way to keep the player more focused on pressing the correct buttons that isn't just a punch and dodge. But there's one portion of the combat that I felt was missing in some places, and that was the abilities. And I mean strictly the abilities for Peter. The Iron Arms and the Symbiote powers were a pretty neat addition to performing cool attacks, but it kinda sucks that those are the only options. Especially with finishers. Again, they are really cool, but it would have been nice to have other options for not just Peter, but for both Spider-Man. like some web-based attacks where they use their own web fluid to create a whiplash or a mini wrecking ball to knock down enemies. Think of Shattered Dimensions, for example. I don't want to have to constantly rely on the Iron Arms or the Symbiote to make a cool move. Sometimes it doesn't even fit certain costumes I'm wearing. Although I do think another moveset that would be pretty funny is if they added the 6-arm Spider-Man suit and have the extra arms replace the iron ones in combat. And instead of those mechanical sound effects when you hit somebody, it's just a bunch of flesh slapping each other.
Gonna have to flag that business transaction.
We have to get Spider-Man! Counter-offer!
And one last thing that I think would be perfect is wall combat. The wall combat in Web of Shadows was really cool, and I just love to be able to do that in the third game. There's really not that much else to say about the combat, just those small tidbits that I think could benefit them more, even in the slightest way. And now that takes us to one of the most important things in a Spider-Man game, the traversal. The traversal in Spider-Man 2 was pretty much perfect. You had a swing assist meter that you can change at any point, the web wing so you can glide across the map, the slingshot, corner tethers, the loop-de-loop, the ability boosts. There's not that much to change about this other than adding very small stuff that I think would make the game slightly more fun. For example, one of the crimes in the game where you chase down a hunter truck, you are often skiing behind it attached to your web, and that gave me an idea to want to do that with boats to traverse along the waters. It'd be a nice change of pace from swinging through the bridges all the time. I know that probably sounds pointless and it's much slower than swinging, but it would just be fun. Plus, it'd be a great opportunity for crimes to appear on the water for a change, such as stop the thugs from stealing the boat, and you have to chase them. It'd also be a great opportunity for mini races to appear for controlling your skiing, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Other traversal ideas to cross the map is riding helicopters. It's actually surprising that you can't do that in the current games, and I hope there's a possibility that you can in the next one.
I think you
Being able to skydive off the helicopter and gain more speed from the drop would be pretty cool. And other things to increase speed when scaling up buildings aside from wall running, like web zipping or slingshotting off a wall. Having slightly more variations to move around for what you see fit as the player would make a nice addition to the game. And now that we're done with the traversal, let's talk about what's probably going to be my favorite part of the video. Activities and mini-games. It felt like there was a lost opportunity for mini-games in Spider-Man 2, considering you could explore Coney Island. I know you can go on the rides in one mission, but it would have been fun to do it in free roam too. I had this one idea where you could go on the roller coaster and the other Spider-Man would join you, and there'd be this small cutscene that would soon cut to both of them in a photobomb, and their poses would change on every ride. I want more silly stuff like this. I like silly Spider-Man. Give me silly Spider-Man! An activity I think should also be in the next game is races. My favorite Spider-Man game of all time is Ultimate Spider-Man, and I must have done all 60 races about 1 billion times. There's something so fun to landing on platforms and reaching checkpoints to test your swing speed. They have races in Miles Morales, but as mentioned before, I want to have a variety of races that isn't just for swinging and gliding. I'd love to do water skiing over obstacles along the shore to reach checkpoints and perform more stunts to earn a higher medal. You could do the same thing with being on the ground level in the city and dodging incoming cars and jumping over ramps. An additional race could include skydiving off helicopters and going through spider rings to earn a better medal and more XP. Another thing that I'd like to be able to do, which is pretty small, but it would add a tiny bit more to the interactive world of the game.
Flying dolls or whatever
I want to be able to enter my house for once. I understand that there's probably not much of a point to it, but if you're going to go all out with the small details and Easter eggs inside, you might as well make it a feature. Okay, so I've got one more activity on my list that I think is my favorite. Having civilians randomly approach you to help with small stuff like saving a kitten from a tree or helping an old lady cross the road. A nice break from being just crimes and something that allows the player to actually feel good about being Spider-Man and understand that these good deeds is what being a hero is all about. The side missions certainly did that for me, and I just want more of that. The last thing on my list is regarding the story. I don't have anything towards the plot or anything, this is just something that could be nicely added just for the fun of it. Like small cameos from other Marvel characters for once. I mean, you got the Baxter building in the game now, you could have Reed Richards being interviewed on a podcast talking about his research or something. Or have Matt Murdock make a small cameo by helping Sandman get visitation rights for his daughter. It can be very small, but it doesn't have to matter. But most of all, I just hope that the story is decently long enough to tell the stories that they set up. Even the DLCs got cancelled for the second game, so they got a lot of baggage right now. I just don't want this game to be rushed like the second game was. I feel like a huge amount of the story was left out in Spider-Man 2. You can, of course, like the story, but for me, it just wasn't good. And I wasn't much of a fan of how Venom was treated. I remember when I made a video on me making my own PS5 covers for the game, and I was fully glazing the new Venom logo. Which, by the way, I'll still glaze now. It's such a good logo. I like the design. Is that so bad? But I also remember that when I finished the game, that I felt like something was missing. Especially with Venom. The mission where you got to play as him was cool, but it felt like so many stories were cut so short. It's obvious that this game was rushed, and it's such a shame that there could have been more. There's apparently rumors that a Venom game's in development, but even if that's true, it's gonna be really sad that we're not gonna get Tony Todd anymore.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't just Venom. He was
away.
Candyman, Zoom, Darkseid, and so many other characters. Tony Todd was a legend, and it still bums me out remembering that he's gone.
R.I.P.
I want to thank you for sticking with me throughout the whole thing and listen to me yap about things that I liked and didn't like about the game. I really love these games, and I still play the second game every now and then to swing and listen to music. But I really hope that for Spider-Man 3, they add more to it and make the story more linear and arrange their storylines in the appropriate amount. I want to see what they had in store for Carnage and Chameleon. And my god, I hope to see the Beetle in this one too.
Ain't
I
he
just
supposed
want
to be
Insomniac to
DLC?
take their time with this
Or
game,
was?
since it also feels implied to be the
Also,
final
wow.
chapter. So I hope they try and go
I
all
got
out.
tired of that Firefly.
But thank you for watching,
Arkham City,
and
I
I'll see
think.
you all later.
Arkham Knight. This does not look good. Wow. Yo, I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that. The way he,